possession.
You saw Eric unbuckling the belt. It's never. Oh,
it's never good. That's never good.
What are you doing?
Well, Madison,
oh my God! You better come.
Madison from behind used the Knockouts title belt. She hit Eric Young, who drops right on top of Gale, and we have new champs.
Well, we just crowned them. We made history. Just crowned new knockout tag team champs in ODB and Eric Young.
A man can only take so much.
There it is. EY with possession of one of the knockout tag team title belts with his girl ODB. Oh, God, what a pleasure.
Oh, Katniss Everdeen, what will you do next? I mean, you... What the fuck?! Oh, no, you don't. Damn you and your bring dead people back to life technology! If I can't leave, nobody leaves. Thursday night, about 10 minutes before Impact started, my cable went out, so I ended up missing like 3/4 of the show. I'm not a religious person, but I am 100% convinced that this was divine intervention, because when I did finally watch the show via download, I had the luxury of fast-forwarding through certain parts in order to preserve my sanity, and I think you know which parts I'm talking about. That said, let's try to get through this before I'm struck by the urge to stab the nearest sharp object into my jugular. When the show began with a lengthy video package about Garrett Bischoff, I knew this one was gonna hurt, and I had no idea how right I was. The opening segment was an Immortal promo, because these still exist. They spent several minutes running down Garrett, and then they introduced Kurt Angle as Gunner's partner in a tag team match against Garrett later in the night. I don't know why Bischoff was so floored that Angle was Gunner's partner. I mean, Angle was still aligned with Immortal last I checked, so wouldn't that be kind of a given? It seemed like they were overplaying that. Besides that, it wasn't really a bad segment, but I hated it. Because you've got Ric Flair, Gunner, and now Kurt Angle all teamed up so they can take out Garrett Bischoff.
This whole show is ridiculous!
And that leads me to one very important question. Who the fuck is Garrett Bischoff? Besides the obvious answer, I mean, who in the world is this greenest grass newbie that he gets so much attention? That he has legends like Ric Flair and Kurt Angle even acknowledging his existence, much less banding together to take him out? There is no way the writers can possibly rationalize this, and that's why this feud doesn't work. Because they're taking this rookie scrub who hasn't proven anything and over-exaggerating his importance to the point where it just becomes ridiculous.
This whole show violates everything about my journalistic integrity.
From there, we went to a backstage segment where Sting is acting batshit insane again, getting his Joker on, talking to himself in a mirror, and what's stupid about this is that everyone knows by now that Sting is just putting on an act when he does this. He basically admitted that a few months ago. It's all an act just to throw people off. So why is he acting crazy when there's no one else in the room with him? I don't know. Then Eric Young comes in, and before you know it, Eric Young and ODB have a shot at the women's tag team titles, despite the fact that Eric is, you know, a man.
You have a vagina!
Oh, shit. I don't even know where to start with this one. I mean, let's not even bother questioning how Eric is even eligible to compete for a women's championship in the first place. They've crossed that line before. Of course, they handled it a lot differently back then. But I don't know how the hell something like this even gets booked in the first place. And the sick thing is, the really sick thing is, it was Sting's idea. I guess the implication is that Sting is just out of his fucking mind when he's in Joker mode, and that's why he booked this. But Jesus Christ, when Eric Young is coming off like the rational one, that means you're taking this shit too goddamn far. So the match takes place immediately, before anyone has a chance to object, conveniently enough. Needless to say, it's a complete farce because of all the usual Eric Young shit, and it ends with Madison knocking Eric out with one of the title belts so that he falls on top of Gail, pinning her in comical fashion. And so, your winners and new Knockout Tag Team Champions, ODB and Eric Young.
Oh, what a bunch of bull.
You know, the Cody Deaner thing was not that long ago. I can't believe they're trying to get away with this. I know most of the current writing staff weren't in TNA when that happened, but I'm pretty sure Conway was, and goddammit, he should have known better. Remember the storyline where Cody Deaner was calling himself the Knockouts champion? He wasn't the champion officially, but he was trying to be, and there was an actual chance that this could happen. The Knockouts were outraged. They took it as a huge insult to them that a man would lay claim to their championship, something that they all took so much pride in. And the entire Knockout division, faces and heels alike, rose up against him to stop this from happening. And do you remember which one of them was leading the charge? The one that opposed him more strongly than any of the others, ultimately defeating him and retaking the Knockouts championship on behalf of every woman in the company? Cody Deaner's girlfriend at the time. ODB. So what the fuck happened? It's the exact same goddamn storyline, except inverted. Instead of breaking up with Cody Deaner and stopping him from winning the Knockouts Championship, ODB helps Eric Young win the Knockouts Championship, and then they get engaged.
I was a war correspondent, and now I'm covering this.
And you know what the worst part is? They portrayed this as being a good thing. The announcers are laughing at it. None of the other Knockouts are bothered in the least by the fact that one of their tag team titles is now held by a man. It really seems like everyone is happy about this development.
I don't know what my future holds, but I know one thing.
I know the Knockout tag titles have never really been taken that seriously by this company, but you know what? That problem has never been hard to fix. But instead of creating some teams from the Knockouts they already have, like they did last year with TNT, and have them go after the titles, or signing some new female teams from the indies like the Blossom Twins to build the tag division around, they just figured, screw that, let's just turn those titles into a big fucking joke. Because that strategy worked out so well for the TV title. Oh wait, no it didn't. Well, too late. How the fuck does that happen?
You can take this microphone and shove it up your ass.
And to make matters even worse, they actually had Gail Kim eat the pin in this bullshit match. So all that good work the writers did with making Gail look like a strong champion recently, that's gone. They flushed that down the shitter. Why couldn't she just push Eric off her? He's not that big. But she acted like someone dropped a piano on her or something. Shit! Why couldn't they just have Madison Rayne get pinned here? She's the character that's played more for comic relief. No one even fucking takes her seriously anyway. It's not like she has any credibility to lose. And she wouldn't be in danger of losing any heat by taking this loss because she never had any heat in the first place. To have Gail be the one you make look ridiculous here, what the hell does that accomplish? To further the Gail-Madison breakup? There are plenty of other ways to do that without shitting on your entire women's division, you know.
You people are fools!
Then, after the match, Eric asks ODB to marry him. I'm not gonna fucking touch that one. Luckily, I have a new live correspondent to do it for me. Fool Killer from 24 hours ago. Your thoughts on the ODB Eric Young engagement? Moving on. Anyway, they decided to do the Austin Aries versus Zema Ion X Division title match here instead of saving it for the pay-per-view. And they actually let Aries poke fun at that before the match. He's Sting, you're giving away title matches on free TV? What are you, stupid? That was fucking great. Oh, man. So they have the match. It's pretty good, but has a shitty ending. Ion goes for the hairspray. He misses, Aries gets it, uses it on Ion instead, and gets himself accidentally DQ'd. So nothing was really resolved here. And this pretty much played out just like I thought it would. They're doing heel versus heel, so the audience is going to pick and choose which guy they want to cheer for. And that's sure not going to be the guy who's bragging about breaking Jesse Sorensen's neck. So even though he was still acting like a heel, Aries was getting face heat in this match. And that's not the reaction you want your top X Division heel to get. Unless it is. I don't know, maybe they're planning a face turn for Aries. I'm not saying that wouldn't work, but it would be pretty awkward timing considering he just aligned himself with Bobby Roode and Bully Ray last week. Speaking of which, Bully Ray calls out Sting and demands that he get Bobby Roode because he took out James Storm and he should be the #1 contender. And Sting gives him Bobby Roode in a match, he just doesn't put the world title on the line. And this was another match where the booking really confused me. I mean, you have Bully Ray demanding that Roode fight him like a man. Meanwhile, Bobby Roode is acting like a typical cowardly heel for a good chunk of the match, which really didn't track because he wasn't in danger of losing the title here. And can you guess what happened? That's right, Bully Ray started getting face pops, which the writers had to know was probably going to happen when they booked the match like this. But it doesn't seem as if they have any intention of turning Bully Ray face, so I have no idea what they were going for. Neither guy can finish the other, so Roode goes for Bully Ray's chain, but he can't connect. Bully gets it, he's about to take Roode out with the chain, but then James Storm jumps in the ring and stops him, and then super kicks Roode himself. I'm really not sure what this was supposed to accomplish. They made Bobby Roode look kind of weak and unnecessarily cowardly at a time when he should be getting built up like a monster going into his match with Sting. Bully Ray suddenly gets put in a position to be cheered. I know given their respective positions, neither guy could really afford to lose in this situation, but that just goes to show that this match really shouldn't have been booked in the first place. I know I'm being kind of vague here, but I really just don't know what to make of this. That whole segment was very, very strange. Then they had a #1 contenders match for the tag team titles with Matt Morgan and Crimson versus Robbie E. and Rob Terry. How the hell did two losers like Robbie E. and Rob Terry get into a #1 contenders match when they have not won a single match as a team? I'm just asking. Basic enhancement match. Morgan kicks the heel's asses by himself, then Crimson tags in and steals the pin from him, so Crimson's heel turn is progressing nicely. The match was alright when the faces were on the offense, but Robbie and Rob Terry are so goddamn boring. I think Rob Terry did manage not to botch anything here, which for him is a step up, but apparently, in order to accomplish this, he had to execute every move in slow motion. And Robbie's not any better. I'm falling asleep watching these guys work Crimson over. Fuck these two no-talent clowns. The best part of this match was when Matt Morgan kicked Robbie's head off. Then AJ Styles came out for a promo. Daniels and Kaz come out to confront him. They accuse him of always getting everything handed to him, of being TNA's golden boy, and their friendship with him never got them anything but the short end of the stick and blah blah blah, and they basically just blamed him for all their problems. Then Ken Anderson made his return, and him and AJ kicked the heels' asses. I liked seeing Anderson back. I think his return was done pretty well. Unfortunately, the heels part in all this, specifically with Kaz, is what lost me. It feels like they skipped a step here. First, it looked like Daniels was blackmailing Kaz with something that Kaz didn't want anyone to know about. Then Kaz seemed to make the decision to roll with it, and now he's saying that AJ is the cause of all his friends turning on him? And I don't understand how they got Kaz to this point. It kind of seems like they took him from A to C and just skipped over B entirely. I'm not sure how else to explain it. It just feels like the writers changed direction with this storyline halfway through, and the whole thing just felt awkward somehow. It was good to see Ken Anderson back finally, though. I think adding him to this storyline might give it a little extra juice. Unfortunately, they didn't put over his return well enough. In fact, they kind of shit on it by cutting away from him way too soon so they could show another Garrett Bischoff segment. And they showed a couple of these throughout the night with Garrett reacting to the Gunner situation and teasing who his partner in the main event was going to be. Oh yeah, did I mention Garrett was booked in the main event this week? Just let that sink in for a minute.
Oh my God, he's gonna puke! He's gonna puke! He's gonna puke!
These segments really did more harm than good. The more we see of Garrett, the more clear it becomes how bad his mic skills are and how little charisma he has. It's almost comical how amateurish his interviews come off as. I mean, it couldn't be more obvious that this guy has never learned how to act on camera. They're exposing him so much as being completely unprepared for this big of a push, and I don't know how they can possibly expect people to not see right through this.
I'm done! I am done with you! I'm done with this entire show!
I mean, the announcers basically spelled out the whole thing for us. They keep going on and on about how Garrett is in this position because of who his dad is. Of course, they meant it like he has a target on his back because he's Eric Bischoff's son, but the meaning behind it is that he's getting a main event push because he's Eric Bischoff's son. That's the only reason why a guy with no charisma, no promo skills, a sloppy moveset, and only one facial expression would be in a spot like this. If his dad was any other person in the world, he'd be in OVW right now, and we all know it. So the main event happens. Everyone except the announcers knew Garrett's partner was going to be Jeff Hardy. It was so obvious, I don't know why they even bothered trying to keep it a secret. But it wasn't really a bad match. I mean, yeah, it got kind of sloppy when Garrett tagged in, but not really a bad match. But the problem in all this was how the match was put together. Basically, they had the heels beat Jeff Hardy down for like 10 minutes straight and built up to Garrett getting the hot tag, and then he came in like the proverbial house of fire and kicked the heels' asses until Hardy hit the swanton and got the pin. So they took Jeff Hardy, who, love it or hate it, is probably the biggest moneymaker they have on the roster, and purposely made him look weak just so Garrett Bischoff could look better by comparison. Think about that. Yeah, Hardy did get the pin ultimately, but Garrett was the one who set it up for him. It was clear as day what this whole thing was really about. You know, I was really dragging my feet on making this video, and now you know why. I did not like this episode at all. Some really confusing booking decisions, the increasing push of Garrett Bischoff, which I just find insulting and ridiculous, the ODB Eric Young title win, which was insulting and ridiculous for a completely different set of reasons. The television recently had been really good. I don't know what happened here. Now, something I did think was kind of cool was the Joseph Park angle. Now, this guy comes in to try to find out where his brother disappeared to, his brother being Chris Park, Abyss. The crazy thing is, it's the same guy. So it's Abyss playing a whole different character. And all things considered, that's not a terrible idea at this point. I mean, Abyss as a character was pretty much done. I mean, they'd done everything they could possibly do with him, repackaged him 500 times. I don't think it was really holding a lot of people's interest anymore, so giving Chris Park a totally new character to play? Why the hell not? That could be exactly what he needed. It was pretty weird, though. I mean, this calm, polite, seemingly well-adjusted guy shows up in a nice suit and says he's Abyss's brother? Presumably they grew up together. How does the same environment that created Abyss produce Joseph Park Esquire? I mean, wouldn't they both have been raised by James Mitchell? I don't know, but I'm intrigued to see where it goes, and that's more than I could say about Abyss a few months ago. I think this has the potential to either be really interesting or really stupid, depending on what they do with it. I'm just hoping it doesn't turn out to be a split personality type of thing. I mean, they tried that with Black Rain, and, well, we all saw the results, so let's just not go there. That's it. This video's already running late, so I gotta turn off the camera and start editing. Subscribe, comment. Hopefully next week's episode will be better than this one. Talk to you then. Later.